Okay, Mike, keys to victory in this game. What stands out the most to you as the things the Patriots have to achieve if they're going to come to Miami and get a win?
Well, again, I think it comes back to using pressure and making it count, Kyle. We talked about earlier how the Patriots have attempted to put pressure on quarterbacks, but they're not getting home. The Pats' quarterback pressure rate is 31.5, and their average time to pressure is 2.58 seconds. Now, conversely, when you look at Miami and Tua Tagovailoa's 6 starts, he's been pressured on 20.3% of his dropbacks, an average time to throw of 2.43 seconds. So if I'm the New England Patriots, you need to pay attention to both coverage and tackling because that's going to be key. You have to find a balance between both. The coaching staff needs to adapt if their coverage schemes are not working, something they haven't done the last couple of weeks. I think they hear a lot of the noise coming from the fans and the media up here in New England. So I would look for them to be on alert to adjust when things aren't working their way. But they also have to remember that they do need to finish their tackles. And this is something that they're not doing. And a lot of teams are making them pay for it. So if you're going to apply pressure, you have to make it count. You can't have it come up empty and expect to beat the Miami Dolphins. They will absolutely decimate you, and they'll leave you in the lurch and it won't be pretty down in Miami Gardens this weekend. I think another key for the Patriots this week is they're going to have to attack Miami where they believe they might be a bit vulnerable. And you mentioned Kendall Fuller being out this week. This is a group that struggles to cover tight ends on occasion, and they had difficulty with Brock Bowers last week. He caught 13 passes for 126 yards. They did shut down the rest of the Vegas passing game, but they allowed a guy like Bowers to be able to hurt them. So if I'm the New England Patriots, I'm looking at both Hunter Henry and I'm looking at Austin Hooper as guys that could potentially get some yardage down the field or be a type of a threat if some of the wide receivers are simply not doing their job in New England, or if Drake's having difficulty shaking them free and throwing them open. So that's something that I would look for as well for the Patriots. And bottom line, if the Patriots are going to have any success at all in this game, they have to, one, protect the ball, and they have to limit their opponent's takeaways. That includes erroneous penalties, which the Patriots have not been able to do well. They were penalized 7 times last week for 45 yards. That cannot happen if they're going to attempt to get a victory on the road this weekend. So they need to do a much better job of protecting the ball, scheming it, and also being able to attack their opponents when they're weak. It sounds simple, but that's the way it's been for the past this year. It's the little things that have doomed them in some games that maybe they should have been better equipped to win.
Yeah, I look at this game for the Dolphins and the keys to victory that they have. And I look at, you mentioned attacking opponent where they're weak from a Patriots side of things. And the Patriots offensively this season come up short as far as their league standing in a couple of areas where the Dolphins defense actually ranks quite well, and that's third down and red zone. The Patriots currently rank 26th in the NFL with 35% conversion rate on third down. They are 46.9% touchdown percentage in the red zone. That is 29th in the NFL. The Dolphins have been a top 10 team defensively on third downs all season long. And that's despite the Raiders were almost unstoppable on third and fourth down. I think they only got 3 or 4 stops on like 16 opportunities on third and fourth downs in this past game. They didn't tackle well in front of the sticks. But the Dolphins ranked 10th in the NFL in third down percentage defensively at 35%. And they're giving up touchdowns on just 48% of their defensive trips into the red zone. That ranks 8th in the NFL. They have to keep that trend going against a team that has, across the course of their season thus far, struggled relative to league average. If they can do that, I think you'll see the same kind of script that unfolded with the Raiders and the Rams, where maybe those teams are both able to move the football. But the Dolphins kept the Rams out of the end zone entirely. They kicked 5 field goals in that game. And the Raiders had 2 possessions in the first half. The entire first half had effectively 2 possessions for each team. Miami gets a touchdown and a field goal. The Raiders kick 2 field goals. They go into halftime with a lead. So that's been part of the script, has been you may give up some yards, but don't break. And I think that's another thing this week when the field gets a little bit more compressed and things happen a little faster and there's more bodies in a tighter space. How do you choose to attack a rookie quarterback in that opportunity. And I think that's a big opportunity for Miami in this game. I do think they'll need to run the ball a little bit better than what they have from a negative runs perspective. The Dolphins are number one in the NFL in negative runs that have gone for at least -1 yard thus far this season. They're in the high 40s. I think there's only two other teams in the NFL that are at least over 40, but Miami with that top spot, those negative runs have really been a detriment. They've looked a lot better with some of their on-schedule stuff, but then they'll get a chunk gain, then they'll pass for a first down, and then it's 2nd and 12 because they lose 2 yards trying to get out on the edge. So whether this process for them includes Alec Ingold or not, that's a big point of emphasis, I think, for Miami. They have to start getting better at avoiding the minus runs. They do that in this game, and I think that it will bode well for their ability to, again, stay on schedule, be very clock-oriented. And I think the last thing that they need to do is they need to figure out what they need to do to get Chop Robinson to continue his strong stretch of play. He's been their one organic winner from a pass rush perspective. The last 3 weeks have been the best 3 games he's played in his rookie season. He's really starting to come on. There's been some chemistry with some twists and stunts and games. And if Cole Strange plays, and that's a new player that hasn't played that you're inserting back in, can you attack that with some gap exchanges and miscommunications? If it's not, the strongest pieces of your defense have still been Zach Sealer, Calais Campbell. Lean on those guys, the experience that they have. Try to get some wins, try to get some runs in Drake May's face, because Chop's the guy who's athletic enough to get him on the ground, but you got to get him some free looks at the quarterback for that to happen. So that's where my mind goes for keys to victory for the Dolphins.